Hello there, I am M. Price and I welcome you back to M. Price Can Eat, a subsidiary company of M. Price Can Read. Today we have a nice lamb curry with rice and of course cilantro on top. And then I'd show it, but it'll be showing now, otherwise I don't want to have it slide off the plate. And then we have some nice chapati or roti or whatever you want to call it, which is pretty apt for our talk today. Because usually when people think of Indian breads, they think of naan, right? Well, chapati or roti is like naan for poor people because it's just flour and water. And it kind of fits today because today we'll be talking about a word I am infamous for having trouble pronouncing. Aestheticism. Being aesthetic. Like anti-materialism, basically. Asceticism. Yeah, you get it. And to drink, as this is going to be our homemade food, so it's going to be some kind of funky drinks from World Market. We have Menabrea Blonda Premium Lager. Okay, but yeah, that's what it looks like. And without further ado, we're just going to pop it open. Oh yeah, I'm trying to skip some of the flim-flam at the beginning of my videos because I'm trying to boost my retention. I don't know, have I retented you yet? But here we go with the blonde. Is it bad that I pronounce it blonde with a probably stereotypical European accent? That's actually pretty good. Yeah, the past few drinks I've had have been kind of kind of weird. Maybe I just don't like IPAs, but yeah, like lagers and porters, I'm more about, I think. Yeah, that's good. And of course, I brought back our faithful companion, our beagle towel. And for dessert tonight, we have some Fruit Loops. Yay, Fruit Loops. I don't know, I took them from work. Anyway, lamb. This is leftover lamb. Leftover food, I guess, but still good. And we're gonna have it right now. And if you were eating in India, they don't actually really use utensils. They would just scoop it up with their basically their bread. One-handed, by the way. But because this is kind of, old, it's not very flimsy or doesn't really have the utility as much, but let's see. Yeah, it's very chewy bread. Actually, let me wait to talk for a bit. Because this, like my buttered chicken video, link somewhere, I'm sure. This is one of those things where it's so good and I want to eat it quick, while it's still hot, as compared to kind of meandering about on my other videos and hitting that room temperature count too early. as usual, recipe down below. Just pretty simple. Just ground lamb, spices, and like peas and onions, but the main hurdle is finding the ground lamb. Aldi has it, if you have Aldi wherever you live. Oh, that's good. Alright, here's a big old piece. Oh yeah. Please, please, please rotate. So aestheticism. You'll notice I divide my videos up pretty similarly because I think there's a sort of positive and negative form of aestheticism. Not necessarily good and bad, but different ways of looking at it. One way, because basically aestheticism boils down to simple living. Not even just living within your means, but almost like depriving yourself of things. And if you've seen like my Stoicism video link or my Christmas consumerism video link, then oh, do I have hiccups now? Jeez. Then you'll kind of see how I view these sort of things. But man, asceticism is a sort of willful denial of these pleasurable, I do a lot of videos about this kind of thing now. I have a Buddhism video too. Whatever, I don't have similar references, I'm not totally copying, but I think a positive is sort of a gain from asceticism is you really learn to appreciate what you have, and you find joy in simple things, and living simply and having this sort of small daily pleasure gets you through the day, I think, and helps you succeed in your life. I like to compare it to a computer game I've played. Kind of an indie game, but it's called The Longing. And basically you play as this little black sprite kind of guy. And you journey throughout this underground labyrinth. And the game takes 400 days to beat. You heard me right. 400 days. Once you start the game, a real world timer begins and it counts down from 400 days. And essentially you are guarding this ancient kingdom for 400 days, and at the end of this waiting period, the king will awaken and reward you. So it is quite literally a waiting game. And all you have to do is sit in your room, wait, or you can wander around this underground labyrinth. Of course, a labyrinth without David Bowie, so kind of sad. Come on, lamb. The lamb is very oily, by the way. But what's interesting about the longing is not only does the game actually, through its blandness, very much represent a sort of emotional longing, at least to me. But as you wander around the labyrinth, you can like find books, or you can find little crystals, or you can find like paints eventually. And all these things you find, you can bring back to your room. And as, of course, you move throughout the 400 days of game time, little changes start to occur in the labyrinth. For instance, there's a dripping stalagmite formation, and there's like a pit right in front of, or right below it. Stalactite, geez, the one on the ceiling, it's stalactite, yeah, because the T's and the M's, whatever. There's water dripping from the ceiling, god damn it. And eventually, after waiting for long enough, it fills up the little pit below it, and you can float across it and then cross to the other side. And then you have a new little area to explore. There's a lot of things like that, where as time goes by, more options open up to you in this maze. Where the game takes off is as you bring more things to your room, and as you do more things in your room, time goes by quicker. So once you are in your room reading a book, time moves faster. And every time you flip a new page, time jumps a little bit. And every time you make a new painting, time goes faster. And once you hang a painting up, time permanently goes faster. And once you dig in your room and make it bigger, time goes faster and faster. And all these little things, the idea of, time flies by when you're having fun, that applies here. And then you're able to speed up the process of exploring the rest of the labyrinth to find other endings. I won't spoil it, but find other endings besides the wait 400 days ending, to the point where realistically a game doesn't take 400 days to beat. It takes maybe 15-20 hours to actually beat the game. But I think this game stresses the idea of living simply and finding joy in simple things. The little black sprite guy doesn't have a PlayStation or a flat screen TV or a Netflix subscription. He just has a couple of books and some paint. He's a very simple guy. And because he didn't have much, and because he doesn't really do much outside of what he needs to survive, even the tiniest of joys bring him this immense light, this immense meaning almost, because it's like it's lonely at the top. For instance, if you have all this wealth and fortune and all these material objects, then there's like nothing left for you. If you can find joy at the bottom, if you can find joy with the most simple objects or hobbies, then at that point you can always be entertained, you can always be happy. Or even if you're not entertained, you can find happiness and peace in the little that you have. I might actually finish this. This is good. Now a sort of negative example of aestheticism, showing, bad things essentially coming out of materialism. It is a very dangerous movie, at least a dangerous movie in my mind, because I think it makes violence too approachable and grounded and attainable. Spoiler alert for me doing a video on violence, next week or the week after. We'll see. Also, the movie is like kind of ruined by the Sigma male, whatever that is. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I made fun of it. Yeah, that kind of. Some of the movies in that genre are great, but I think a lot of them are misrepresented to make them seem rather toxic. But the movie Fight Club, and somewhere along in that movie, I'm sure everyone knows it, but it's a movie about guys starting a fight club and kicking the shit out of each other. There's a lot of different interpretations on why they do it and what it means and whatnot. But one of the main interpretations is that it's a movie that's against, this hyper-capitalist, hyper-materialist things society. I think one of the lines is even something like, be careful of the things you own, because one day they'll own you. I don't look things up, you know me. But something like objects eventually owning you. And I think that's a very important lesson to be learned from asceticism. The idea that if you do have the newest iPhone, every month, that they seems like they have a new one every month, doesn't it? If you always have the newest, latest, most expensive thing, then at some point, are you really yourself, or are you just this amalgam of all your products that you've bought? At what point does your own personality vanish and your identity erased and you just become, the slave of a corporation somewhere? It's not worth it. They don't need any more money. They're already big enough. And yes, some people will fall victim to their manipulation and to their, in my mind, advanced social engineering of creating this sort of, merchandised world where everything's about buying this and buying that. But just because other people fall victim to it doesn't mean you have to. You can be better. You can rise above, and there's no shame in saying that you can rise above it. Because it's either that or just being chained, to the dollar, the symbol of the dollar, any other, just vain, meaningless thing out there, just being enslaved to, to materialism. And that's not a life to lead, working all day to buy, working all day to get his paltry living wage and not spending it on food or shelter, but spending it on designer t-shirts and, Netflix subscriptions. Come on, there's better things to do. Instead of spending a bunch of money on a designer, handbag, you could buy an instrument and teach yourself how to play an instrument and become a musician. You could spend that time making, a YouTube video or something and experimenting with editing and filming. There's so many more things you can do than just buying things for the sake of just buying them, a simple life will always succeed, because a simple life is like the original template, really. It never goes out of style. You know, people had simple lives back in the hunter-gatherer era. You know, like, you know, imagine what they would think of today's busybody world, you know. Seeing all the craziness that our culture has become. The madness we've imbibed. Yeah. We're getting dangerously close to room temperature lamb, so let me eat for a little bit here. Maybe I shouldn't use a white towel for eating Indian food. That's on me. But I think the main benefit of practicing asceticism is it sort of trains your body for a higher purpose through self-denial and through, you know, hardening yourself, strengthening yourself. You become a sort of mini superhero. For instance, I went through like a really bad period in my life, and honestly, the idea of cutting out social media, of cutting out the TV time all the time, of cutting out constantly going, you know, to the movie theater or buying the newest thing, and instead focusing on like exercising or doing a new hobby, showering in cold water, which actually helps a lot, as kind of sucky as it is, through practicing being more mindful about what you eat without cheat days on YouTube. It really does help you out, and it really does make you a stronger person, and not just like physically but mentally as well. It increases your willpower stat, you know, lets you cast high level spells, you know what I mean. Dog City never sleeps, and am I actually almost out of this? Wow, because this is actually good. Yeah, the last couple beers I've had, not the best, but I'll have to keep in mind Menabrea Blonda Premium Lager from Italia. Io parlo italiano, as I'm linking every video in this video, aren't I? Io parlo un poco italiano. Vogliano andare a Italia con la mia ragazza. Yeah, sure. I think I said it right. But I think it kind of boils down to, I do know this quote: learn to fight naked and you'll never be disarmed. It's not exactly in a fighting sense, at least to me, but the idea of learn to be content, with a simple life, and you can never become poor. You can never become destitute if you're used to, well, not even used to, because that kind of implies like negativity around it. But if you can still find joy in the simple things, if you can find joy in living a simplistic, easygoing lifestyle, then nothing can ever hurt you, You won't need the fast car and the big house, and if those are affected adversely, which they likely will be, because they're kind of big targets for, whether natural misfortunes or human misfortunes, you'll be okay, because you like living a simple life, don't you? You're an aesthetic. I don't know if I've linked my Buddhism video yet, but I really am linking all my videos this thing. But check out my Buddhism video. Kind of similar to this. Also more Indian food, which I love. But I just think that as a general rule, like in Buddhism, I guess with the Four Noble Truths, I don't know them all right now, but the idea that suffering comes from desire, from wanting all these things, and if you do remove that need for desire, then nothing can hurt you, What are people gonna do? You will be unhappy less. You will be unhappy less or upset less if your barriers to happiness are removed. And so many times barriers to happiness are like pointless status symbols, or a pointless social hierarchy, or just any of this nonsensical materialism, You remove that, you're okay. Now removing it is hard, especially if you've gone your whole life, kind of stuck in this trap. But if dumbass and Bryce can do it, so can you. Ah, yes, the room temperature count, just in time. finished. Usually it's only the Guinnesses I can get finished. Yeah, I don't generally get my extraneous. Hey, motorcycle guy, stop. Ay. Update on motorcycle guy. It wasn't a motorcycle, it was a sports car. Evidently he's not interested in aestheticism as much as you lovely people are. But speaking of lovely things, I got the Fruit Loops. Oh, this is gonna be loud, isn't it? If I can even get it open. I think I bent the plastic. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh, terrible. Look at that. Look at that. Consider me certifiably Fruit Loopy. If there's one more recommendation I can make to you, it's some music. And I'm not going to play it this time because the last time I played music on my catharsis video, YouTube got all mad at me. Even though it's classical music that's over 100 years old and clearly not in copyright anymore. You know, Tchaikovsky can't exactly come after you for playing his symphonies now, can you? Concertos, I mean. But also, I kind of just want to show you the album cover of it and let you imagine for yourself what it sounds like, because to me this album just is the symbol of good vibes, of simple living, of just being happy. And that album is All of Me by Masayoshi Takanaka. Yeah. And here it is, I guess, if you're still watching. Just a friendly Japanese man in a bright jumpsuit skydiving in the islands. I wish we were all skydiving Japanese men, and there goes my light. If it hasn't already gone already, I guess I just noticed it now. But yeah, that's it for the video. We'll see how many of these Fruit Loops I can get through. But yeah, please look up All of Me, 1979. And comment down below, let me know what you think about it. It's really good stuff. He has a lot of other good albums as well, but I just really like this one because of the album art. It's just like, just top tier. Speaking of tier, did anyone else put the new God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC? Pretty good. Now I really am just rambling. Alright. We'll get all the red Fruit Loops because we know that red is the best. And then we'll call it a day. Oh, this one's fused to purple. Come on. Oh yeah. I got you. Alright. We have all the red and yes, one green Fruit Loops. Let's pop them in. hope you've enjoyed, why was that so hard to say? Enjoyed my videos. I just realized that, yeah, these past few have been kind of parallel, the whole Buddhism, consumerism, aestheticism thing. That's fine. And I did think I spoiled it a little bit. But I do have a video on violence coming up. And then I have a video on an historical sort of politician from a long time ago. Let's see if you can guess who he is. He's very famous, and I guess speaking of video games, he was in some video games as well. Comment down below if you want to take a guess, and I don't know, give you a shout out in the video, maybe. Yeah. That's about it. I do, keep in mind, do kind of film these in big chunks, several eating videos at once. That way I have some more time to work on some other styles of video in between. I want to do this will be interesting depending on when this one comes out and what maybe has come out already with my other stuff. I want to start doing some Lego build videos, and I want to start doing like, maybe not even like pure ASMR, but like film essay videos, video essay videos. So we'll see how things play out. I really want to do that video essay film, but film essay video. But I guess it just kind of comes down to what I can use my technology for. Anyway, as you know, I am M. Price. This has been M. Price Can Eat, a subsidiary company of M. Price Can Read, and as you know, Dog City never sleeps. I